Hi, friends. Okay, I wasn't really planning on uploading anything today. I was gonna take the day off, but I've been watching this video from the Best of Danny Jonas podcast, and they're talking about the 100 Egyptian new vase scans that these guys have been working on. And then I got this idea of making this video. So, this is going to be, without a doubt, the most unpopular video that I will ever make until things change. And before I start talking about this, let me just say that if you are a Christian specifically, like a Catholic person, this is gonna trigger you big time. So you may not want to watch this one. So with that warning out of the way, here we go. The Vatican is the biggest criminal organization in the whole world. I think that normal people, everyday people out there, don't really realize the power of such an organization that has been around for so long. Pardon my voice, I don't know why I'm sounding like I'm out of breath or something today, but it's weird. But I'm fine. I assure you there's nothing wrong with me. It's just my voice that's weird today. So, they've been around for a while. When it comes down to modern society, so to speak, a few hundred years, give or take, the amount of resources that they have been able to gather in a few centuries, the amount of knowledge that they have been able to acquire only to keep it under lock and key. This will tie to that video that I made when I spoke about history and how, a lot of our history is manipulated and tampered with and put it in a vault so none of us can have access to that information and what it's about. What are they trying to hide from us and all of these things. And I take it very personal when it comes down to the history of the human race as a whole, that there is a select group of people out there that has absolute power and control over the flow of information about who we really are as a race, where do we really come from, what are really the true origins of the human race, and the list could go on and on and on again. I don't think that this video is going to be that long, to be honest. You get the message, you get what I'm saying. I just think that, it's outrageous. Saying it's outrageous, it's actually an understatement. Because who gives these people, this organization, this is why I call them criminals. They are criminals. They do not have the right to plunder all the existing knowledge that has been salvaged from archaeological places, historical places, things that have survived the burning of the Library of Alexandria. The list is long. I could be here, like I said, for hours talking about this, but that's not the point. The point is to tell everyone, open your eyes for once in your life and understand that these organizations, the Vatican being one of them, the biggest offender, right? And you have the Smithsonian. There are other organizations as well that are just as bad. But I think that when it comes down to the amount of information, the trove of information, of data that exists about the human race as a whole, like I was saying, you know, our true history, our true origins, all of these things, information about civilizations that have come and gone before us, all of these things, they have all of that and then some. And yet no one is allowed to know. It's controlled in such a manner that we only get to know 0.1% of the whole thing, and that's never going to be enough for us to paint a real image of what it really happened and what we're really all about. Why were we put in this planet? Are we even from this planet? There are so many questions that need answers, right? Nobody seems to give a shit. Nobody cares. Because we're all busy in the rat race of life, trying to make a living, pay the bills, right? Stay afloat. And I don't know if I am the only person that feels this way, but that bothers me more than anything else. Because our history should be part of our birthright. We have the right to know the truth. What is the deal? What is the real picture? What really happened in our past? To truly understand, you know, what we're all about. Yeah, you can do things like meditating, looking within, all these things, right, to get a hold of that stuff. But that is way, 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 way harder than just having direct access to the information, because it already exists somewhere in documents, books, archaeological artifacts, and so forth. It's already there. It already exists. And we should be demanding that these things are, you know, made available to all of us, because we have the right to know these things. Call me a dreamer. I guess I'm the only one that thinks that way, you know. But yeah, these guys, they're not here for your best interest. They never have been. They never will be. I think one of the very first videos that I made, it's in probably the first 5 that I made, if you go back, you know, at the beginning when I started this channel, where I talk about my grandma on my father's side, that she was She was Catholic, and she went to the Vatican, and this was back in like early 80s. And I remember when she came back, she was totally different after that, because she saw how things were in the Vatican, because they give you tours and stuff, and then you see the amount of gold and richness that it's in there, and that stuff goes against all the things that Jesus preached, right? Be humble, love your neighbor, and all these things. And we don't even know if he was truly a real historical person, or if he was like an amalgamation of ideas and then created his character. That's not the point. It doesn't matter. We all know that Christ is actually an energy that we can all embody. It's a part of us. So that's another topic for another day. But yeah, these guys are criminals. There's nothing good about the Vatican. And I didn't even talk about the dark side of things there. I'm not even going to go there. If you really want to know, go do some Googling, and you're going to start going into the real rabbit hole of things here. But they don't have the right to withhold this information from the rest of us. This is wrong. It's just in every single way. And that's all I'm going to say when it comes down to this. At some point, we have the right to know our true history and how things really went. And how old, how long the humans have been here for. And we know that the chronology and the time that the timeline, so to speak, is like tampered with, but we don't even know if all these dates and years that we are being told are the right thing, and we know that they're not if when you start looking into it. So you know. So yeah, they're hiding a lot of stuff from us, that's for sure. And I'm not a fan of secrecy, so that's my opinion on the matter. So hopefully one day we get to know what really happened. I don't know if I'll live to see that day come, but there's always hope, right? So this is really all I wanted to talk about today, because I wasn't really planning on doing anything today. And if you like the content, if it resonates with you, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And feel free to comment. I'd love to know what you guys think about this. I like interacting with the few of you who sometimes post stuff. I love you all. Never stop loving yourself. And I will catch you all next time. Take care, my friends.